In a small dusty village far away from the noise of the city, lived an old blind man named Raghav. His eyesight had faded slowly over the years, but his dreams never did. Although he could no longer see the world, he wished only to see one thing again: his son Arav standing as a successful man. Raghav worked as a cobbler. Every morning he sat under an old banyan tree, mending torn shoes with his trembling hands. Villagers often mocked him, saying, "Your son left you and never returned. He won't become anything. You wasted your life on him." But the blind father only smiled and replied softly, "My son will shine, he just needs time." He believed in his boy more than he believed in himself. Arav's struggle in the city. Arav had left the village at 18. He promised his father, "I'll succeed, Baba. One day you will hear people take my name with respect." But life in the city was cruel. He worked as a waiter, a helper, a cleaner, and sometimes slept hungry. Yet not once did he call home to complain. He didn't want his father to worry. Years passed. His dream was to create a small business, something meaningful, something that would change their lives. But every time he tried, he failed. His savings vanished, debts grew, and the city felt heavier each day. One night, sitting alone with tears falling silently, he whispered, "Baba believed in me, but maybe I'm not worthy of that belief." Yet inside his heart, his father's soft voice kept echoing, "My son will shine." The turning point. One morning, Arav found an elderly gentleman struggling to carry boxes up some stairs. He rushed to help him, expecting nothing in return. The man smiled and asked, "What do you do, young man?" Arav sighed, "I try to start small businesses, but I always fail." The man laughed gently. "Failure is not the opposite of success, son. It is part of it." The two talked for hours. Arav didn't know who he was speaking to, but destiny knew. That man was Mr. Mehra, one of the biggest investors in the city. Impressed by Arav's honesty and determination, he said, "I'm looking for someone hardworking, someone hungry to grow. I will give you what you never had, a chance." That single chance changed everything. The rise with Mehra's guidance, Arav started a small online business selling handmade products crafted by rural artisans. He worked day and night, packing orders, managing accounts, handling customers, training villagers, building trust. Slowly, the business grew, then doubled, then exploded. Within 4 years, Arav became one of the youngest millionaires in the region. His company employed hundreds of people. Journalists wrote about him. Investors wanted to meet him. But Arav's heart remained in one place, with the blind father waiting under a banyan tree. The return, he bought a suit, a car, and gifts. But he carried the biggest gift in his heart: success. When he reached the village, people gathered around in shock. "Is this Arav? So successful. He looks like a businessman. Raghav's son has returned." But the blind father sitting under the banyan tree didn't see the crowd. All he sensed was a familiar presence. Footsteps he had memorized since his son was a child. "Baba," Arav whispered. The old man froze. "My son, my Arav?" he asked, trembling. Arav held his father's hands and whispered, voice breaking, "Baba, I made it. Your belief in me made it happen. Your son is finally successful." Tears streamed down the father's blind eyes. For years he had prayed, hoped, dreamed. But what Arav said next changed everything. "Baba, I have arranged for your eye surgery. Soon, you will be able to see again." The villagers gasped. The blind father fell to his knees in gratitude. The day he saw his son, the surgery was successful. As the bandages were slowly removed, the doctor said, "Open your eyes slowly." The old man blinked, light entered. Shapes formed, colors returned. The first thing he saw was a young man standing before him. Confident, successful, smiling with tears in his eyes. "Baba, it's me." For the first time in years, Raghav saw his son. Arav was not a little boy anymore. He was a millionaire, a businessman, a man who turned failure into strength. The father placed his hands on Arav's face and whispered, voice shaking, "I always knew you would shine." Months later, Raghav now lived in a beautiful home in the city. Every morning he walked into Arav's office, proudly watching employees greet his son with respect. Mr. Mehra, the man who helped Arav, said one day, "You built your son with your belief. Without you, none of this was possible." The father smiled with tears. "I was blind, sir, but my heart always saw who he truly was." Moral of the story: when the world stops believing in you, one person's faith can build your destiny. Success begins the moment you believe you deserve it. Noise here.